Good morning. What's up, yo? Um, oh hey, it's only 5:25 on Thursday. Look at me getting stuff done. Yeah. Uh, I mean, some stuff. I still have 8,000 things to do, but most of them are at home. Hi, Chew. How you doing? Um, yeah. I had like all this prep stuff to do before the pre-holiday weekend, I should say. But I did get some excellent news today. I think, ooh, sorry, ouch. I just almost popped my fucking knee out. Dude, these chairs are trying to kill us. I'm serious. It's funny because these chairs in the studio are super old and super crappy. And Shasta asked them to get us new chairs a long time ago. And then they kind of did get us new chairs, but then those new chairs were falling apart faster than the old chairs. I mean, the old chairs were like disintegrating. The seating part was disintegrating, and then the new chairs were falling apart on the sides. But like this chair right now, I was just sitting on it, and I put my hand down on the side, and it felt like it was stabbing me. And I don't know if you can even see this, but look. This thing right here is like a crazy sharp point that's sticking out. It sticks out past the edge of the seat. And I think it's from where this arm broke off. Oh my God, dude. So I was just sitting there like turning on the chair, but my foot stuck on the chair turned when I didn't want to turn, and my foot was like stuck on the chair. So my foot went one way while my knee went the other way, and I was all, and all of a sudden my knee kind of just went, but I managed to break my leg free before an injury happened. Phew. Because, the only exercise I get is the treadmill if I can't walk. Hey, Eddie, what's happening? What the hell was I even talking about? Holiday checklists. Oh my gosh. It's basically Christmas. What sound did it make? Oof. It's still making that sound, actually. It's still kind of like every time I straighten it, it kind of just goes. I think it'll be okay. I've had that knee pop out before, and when it actually pops out, it's horrifically painful, and you just have to kind of like Mel Gibson it back real quick. The faster you pop it back in, the less impact or long-term pain you have. But this one I caught it before it went all the way out. So, whew. But yeah, it's like a full, what is that? Lethal Weapon? Boom. Yeah, no, I get it. It's fine. Laugh at my pain. I mean, it's funny if I'm not actually like hurt, and I'm not. It's not hurting. It's old people pains, I'm just lucky I still got cartilage at this age. Whew! Tell you what. Who was I just talking to? I was just talking to somebody who was telling me how they've had both knees replaced and have like zero cartilage. And I was like, wow. Oh, it was my friend's mom. She was telling me how she was taking Pilates classes. And she's like my mom's. Well, she's not quite my mom's age. She's probably in her early 70s. And she's like, yep, doing the Pilates, getting in shape. And she's like, the Pilates is great, except I can't do the stuff that happens on your knees because she has zero cartilage. And I was like, I'm lucky I still got some cartilage left. Who were my people that were wanting to talk about like Trump this and politics that? And I was like, listen, relax on that shit, right? Like, take a tip from the alcoholics and accept the things that you can't change and change the things that you can. I'm like, listen, no one's gonna, do not care. It matters zero. The clown car of appointees that are going to be coming out. That's just something that's done to stress you out in the news. There are news stories to pay attention to and news stories to ignore. And all of his appointees are news stories to ignore. But a news story that is coming out right now to pay attention to is this budget that they're trying to pass. Hi, Jason. Hey, Dan. Dan, what are you just glad for at this point? No, Jason. It's not an anything free zone. It's not an only anything. It's like we're talking about all kinds of things, but we're being reasonable about it. And this is important, right? They're trying to pass a budget right now. And the reason that the Democrats are voting against the budget is because they're trying to put a measure in there that to pass the budget, just to keep the lights on, just to pay the bills, the Republicans have inserted a clause giving them 2 years suspended debt ceiling. That means that the minute Trump takes office, they would have 2 years to pass all the spending bills in the world that they want to for anything that they want without having to get a debt ceiling raise approved. And since the last time he was in office, he passed that like multi-trillion-dollar tax cut plan for rich people and corporations. I think that this is important. This is one of those things to pay attention to. And I know it sounds really boring, right? It's way more fun to be like, but he wants to put a sex trafficker in the attorney general's office. You know what? He did want to, and that was stupid, and whatever, it took care of itself. You can't have any input on who he appoints in his cabinet or to those positions, but you can have input in bills that get passed, and you can send a text or an email or a quick call to your representative to say, hey, I do not support passing any budget that contains a suspension of debt ceiling approval. That's all. Hi, Mike. Dan, you're just happy you have hair on your head. Well, okay, but I feel like there's a lot of bald people out there that are like, thanks, dude. So sorry, Jason. I hope that didn't hurt to have that tiny bit of politics. I might have a tiny bit more. Does anybody know what ResistBot is? Let me see. Where's the info? If you just text 50409 with the word resist, the ResistBot will register you with all of your representatives. So anytime you want to contact your representatives, you just text them through the ResistBot. Because that's what I just did. And I was like, hey, don't support any legislation that has debt ceiling suspension for 2 years. I mean, Jesus, that's just crazy pants. Hair ain't hardcore. What are you trying to say, Eddie? Nothing wrong with hair. Hey, Red, where you been? Before Christmas is a week away, right? Isn't it? 15 minus 9. Oh, God, it's 6 days away, huh? I did, Jason. I heard Tabor Pepper had a Christmas baby this morning. I think we were the first ones to find out. And when I say we, I mean Chasta and baby Huey, because I was asleep when it happened. But I am super thrilled for him and his family and the 49er family. And, you know, I have a feeling that this year, I mean, clearly this year there was a lot going on with San Francisco 49ers, both injury-wise and somewhere in the locker room. And I think with the suspension of the player, what's his face? I can't remember his name off the top of my head, that refused to go in the third quarter. I think his suspension and eventual firing is going to, or trading or whatever it is they're going to end up doing with him, is going to go a long way towards boosting morale in the locker room. Red, your sister's family is here from Germany. Aww. Prost. I love my germs. I say that lovingly because I have German friends. We call them the germs. Devontae Campbell. Yeah. Well, yeah, there you go. See, Jason, if we couldn't talk about sports and we could only talk about music, then we wouldn't be talking about Tabor Pepper, right? But yeah. Did your sister's family bring you anything from Germany, Red? Like, I don't know, licorice or curry ketchup? Please tell me that they brought like a suitcase of groceries. I'm telling you, man, European groceries are the best. They have the nuttiest stuff over there. Although I guess I like the Dutch licorice better, not the salty one, but the regular one. And then the Germans are just gummies, man. German gummies. Sports are okay. Hi, Brett. Yeah, you know what? I would like to make political discussion reasonable again. I don't want to harp on it, and I don't want to ignore it. I feel like we can all be Renaissance people, as it were. We could be well-rounded people who are aware of issues, but not weighed down by the ludicrousness of politics these days. Yeah, happy Hanukkah too. I think is tonight the first night of Hanukkah, or is that tomorrow? I know because the Bill Graham menorah went up in Union Square. Does anybody know the story behind that? I mean, it's Bill Graham. That's it. But the story is basically years and years ago, Bill Graham was like, hey, you got a Christmas tree in Union Square every year. Why isn't there a menorah? And he asked the mayor, and the mayor was like, because nobody will pay for it. And he was like, I'll pay for it. And so now every year we also have, along with the Union Square Christmas tree, I believe it's on the first night of Hanukkah, we have the Union Square menorah. So Bill Graham bought that and paid for it and put it up there. And I think that's kind of awesome. Hi, Rodney. Brett, did I say hi? I think I did, but I just want to make sure. Oh, wow. Do I want to interview 3 Inches of Blood? I don't think I'll have time. Well, they're not here till January, so maybe. Let's give her the maybe. Okay. Cool. Red, you've kind of gotten it down to just a bunch of chocolates. Yeah, ask about licorice, but not the salty licorice. I feel like the Germans are better for gummies. What else? What am I forgetting? Well, one of my German friends, my favorite germ, basically became a chef. So now everything he does is amazing. PJ, why would I need a massage therapist? I already have one. My friend Jen is like the bomb massage therapist. In fact, I should call her. I was about to call her when the night that I got kicked in the face at Exodus. I was convinced I was going to wake up the next morning and just speed dial her and be like, I'm sorry, it's Saturday, but I need you, girl. But then turned out that the Flexerol did its job, and I woke up feeling kind of fine. Hey, Umberto, you were caller 3 for Toto tickets. Oh, You used to work in Frankfurt for Lufthansa. Nice. Chile and Sao Paulo. I have still never been to Brazil or Chile. Haven't been to South or Central America. There's so many places I still need to go. Grr, that is a tough one. Um, but you know what? I just saw somebody posting some pictures from Chile, and she was like staying. She's like a friend of a friend, and I'm following her on Instagram, and she was staying in some kind of like one of Chile's wine regions. It's basically the Napa Valley of Chile, is what the impression I got was, because she was posting some high end food pictures and some gorgeous like vine, vintage vineyard pictures. I can't think right now. And so now I want to go to Chile. I think their wine region's gotten better. I had some Chilean wines like in around like 2000 and around like 99, 2000. I tried some Chilean wines and I was like, no, put it back. It's not there yet. But that was, oh my God, that was 25 years ago, you guys. This century is a quarter of the way through. That makes me feel old. Yeah, Rodney, Bill Graham was a badass. Dan, what's my Christmas dinner like? I will find out. But one of my besties is cooking, and he always kind of does like an amazing thing. He did turkey for Thanksgiving, so I don't know what his plan is for Christmas. I was going to ask him if he wanted me to bring wine, and that's usually when I get kind of a heads up on what he's thinking about cooking, because I need to pair it with the wine. But then he told me I had to bring 8 Secret Santa gifts that all have to be wrapped. And so now I'm like, well, I don't have room for wine because I'm bringing stupid gift exchange gifts. 8 of them at the last minute. I was like, dude, all your friends are getting shit that's free 99 that I find around the house that I can throw wrapping paper on, because I do not have the time or the money to be shopping for 8 people. I just don't. But Christmas dinner is lovely. It's a bunch of friends, and there's usually cocktails. And my one very good friend, he does all the cooking because he's amazing when it comes to that, and because he doesn't like anybody else in the kitchen. Where are we? Oh yeah, commercial. And it's fantastic. Fingers crossed, he does his homemade pasta. That is one of my favorite things. He'll do like a pasta with like a ragu. I love that. But also I really love his turkey and stuffing too. We had that at Thanksgiving and I could never get enough. Rodney, you survived your first day of work. Aw, congratulations. What are you doing? What are you doing that's so much to learn? I'm sure you told me and I've forgotten. Dan, there are a lot of massage parlors in Chico. Are you sure they're all massage parlors or massage parlors? Umberto, you were from the Central Valley, where I was busy telling people that I won't go to Fresno. The Central Valley, like Modesto, Fresno area. Don Melker from Concha y Toro, best wine in 24 cab category. Oh, all right. Well, like I said, the last time I had Chilean wine, it was literally a quarter century ago. And the Chilean wine regions were just breaking into the market here in the US, and they have since had a lot of time to improve. I mean, I don't know if you remember back when Australian wines were just breaking into the US market in like the 90s. But some of those early Australian wines, we actually were getting them at a huge discount. I knew somebody from Australia, and she was like, oh my God, I can't believe how cheap these Australian wines are. She's like, these wines cost like almost 30% more in Australia, but they're marking them down so that they can sell them in the US because they needed to break into the market. But those were good. No, Central Valley, Chile, where the wineries are located. Oh, you're talking about Central Valley, Chile. We have a Central Valley here in California. It's probably not as nice as the one you were talking about. Although we also do have a central region here that is wine region, like in the San Luis Obispo, Cambria area. There's a lot of nice wines that come out of that central part of the state, but we wouldn't call it the valley because it's coastal. All the best central Californian wines are coastal varieties, in my opinion. I mean, obviously it's pretty subjective. Security at the casino. Oh. Yeah, they got a lot of stuff in there, huh? That you have to keep track of. I'm sure it's probably a lot of procedure. It's probably a lot of like, do this, then do this. Hey, Eric, what's happening? Yeah. Yeah, Dan, observe and report. Let us know what kind of massage you get at the massage parlors. Yeah, I'm torn, Jacob. I mean, I don't need to report sex workers if they're all like legal and not legal, but obviously they're not legal. But I don't need to report sex workers if it's all consensual adults. But often they're not. So, yeah. What else is going on? I feel like I had some kind of news that I came across today that I was going to tell you guys. What was it? Did I post it? Oh, that Spotify thing. Did you see that? So apparently they're accusing Spotify, and it looks to be legit. I mean, it's a Harper's Bazaar article. I'm sorry, Jacob, what? Okay, Jacob. Let's not confuse sex work with abuse, with sex abuse. They're two different things. For example, we have people in law enforcement who abuse their enforcement, and then we have legitimate enforcement. I don't know, like everything about security is reports. Observe and report. That is the motto of all security companies. Do not intervene, observe and report. Yeah, so here's the Spotify thing, right? So what they're doing is they've got all these people listening to these playlists, right? And so what they're doing is they're replacing the music in the playlists with artists that don't exist. They're commissioning songs from a commercial house. So you know how if you're watching TV and you see a commercial and there's music on in the background and it's supposed to be like rock, it's a rock commercial, like somebody's like rocking out in the commercial, but they're doing it while they're drinking a Starbucks, and they didn't want to pay the royalties to have a real musician, or not a real musician. Let me rephrase that. They didn't want to pay the royalties to have a credited musician on their commercial. They will pay a commercial house to write a generic music. Well, supposedly Spotify has contracted this. They've contracted like a Swedish company that is known for this sort of composing. And they've been creating all these songs to go with like the jazz playlist, the ambient playlist, the independent music playlist, and replacing real credited musicians with these like not fake songs, but artists that don't exist. They're calling them ghost artists. So they just make up a name and it'll be like, I don't know, the Blue Jellyfish and their song Wah Wah Wah. And you're listening to it on a playlist and you don't know that Spotify contracted that song from a commercial house so that they could buy it outright or pay a service a certain amount of money outright monthly to utilize the song as often as they can. And then just filling your playlists with these artists like that you don't know. You don't know who the artist is because they don't exist, but you're just sitting there listening to it as content. So the question is, do people care? Do they notice? And if they do notice, do they care? I mean, you're already just paying for background music, or are you asking Spotify to play you certain artists that they're not playing you, or they're playing you like one of the artists you've asked for, and then they'll play you like 3 or 4 songs from non-artists that don't exist that you've never heard of and didn't ask for. But the whole thing is basically done by algorithm to where Spotify has like seamlessly woven these ghost artists into the playlists so that you don't notice. But over time, it ends up being like thousands of listened hours on Spotify that Spotify doesn't have to pay an artist for because it was their own commissioned music. Crazy. Hang on a second. I got to answer this email. Okay. Oh, is anybody listening? I hope everybody's listening at 1077thebone.com or FM 1077 in San Francisco or on the Bone app because a cue to call is coming very soon for Meshuggah tickets. Meshuggah, Cannibal Corpse, and Carcass, which I got to be honest, I think you already know I'm more excited for Meshuggah and Carcass than I am for Cannibal Corpse. Mostly because Cannibal Corpse comes through all the time, but Meshuggah and Carcass, not so much. Donald, did I say hi yet? If not, hi. Sherry, you're going to be at Lucky 13 in Alameda for Christmas. Oh, there's a Christmas luncheon. Oh, that's sweet. Who doesn't love a good potluck? Thanks, Dan. I don't use Spotify either. Nice, Red. Appreciate it. Yeah, honestly, I would love to see a mass exodus of Spotify. I really would, but the vast majority of people are, well, especially the vast majority of people under 40 are all listening on Spotify. Hi, Donald. Hey, Rodney H. You know what's funny is I could call you Hobbs instead of Rodney, but then Brian Hobson might pop on, and then Hobbs would also be like his nickname too. So it would still be too confusing. Well, for anybody not living in the Bay Area, you can't win. Sorry. But if you live in the Bay Area, please, by all means. You pay for Amazon Music? That's cool. I'm not surprised that women listen to the 107.7 The Bone, Jacob. Chicks rock. All right. I think I'm just going to give it another moment before we open the phone lines, y'all. Oh, and did you guys see where Gene Simmons is oh my God, you guys. Gene Simmons is like selling a roadie for a day. You know, back in the way back, that used to be like a contest you could win to be roadie for a day when the band came to town. Now Gene Simmons is selling it. So not only do you hi Lance, not only do you have to pay him almost $13,000 for the privilege, you still have to buy a ticket to the show. No, I don't think you have to buy a ticket to the show. But you do have to like get yourself to wherever the show is taking place that you've bid your $13,000 for. And then you have to work all day as Gene Simmons' little assistant. No, Jacob, you could get anything you want that says Metal Zone on it because it's not a trademarked name. Hi, it's the Bone, your caller 1. Hi, it's the Bone, your caller 2. Hi, it's the Bone, your caller 3. Hi, it's the Bone, your caller 4. Hi, it's the Bone, your caller 5. Hi, it's the Bone, your caller 6. Is like no one calling? It's like hi, it's the Bone, your caller 7. Hi, it's the Bone, your caller 8.
No, one more time.
Hi, it's the Bone, your caller 9. Sorry, dude. So close.
Hi.
Hi, sorry. Your caller 9.
Okay. Dang. Okay. Thanks.
Take care. Hi, it's the Bone. Who's this?
Hi, this is Annette. Hi, Nikki. How are you?
Hi, Annette. I'm good. How are you?
It was caller number 3 and number 7.
Yeah, you know what? The phones were like, it was like just a handful of people calling. So I had to keep hitting the same numbers over. It was weird.
Well, if it's not Metallica, so that would be blowing up, right?
Yeah, I guess this late in the day, there's not a lot of Meshuggah fans listening.
They're stuck in traffic.
Yeah. Hey, Annette, have you won anything from the Bone in the last 30 days?
I have not.
What's your last name?
It's Lysmer, Lysmer. Hello?
Yep. Is this you at AOL.com?
Annette Lysmer, Lysmer at AOL.com, yes.
Okay, it looks like you are in the clear, and you know the drill. You haven't had any change in your email or phone number lately, have you?
No, I have not, or my address.
Okay, great. Congratulations, Annette. You got a pair of tickets to see Meshuggah at the Masonic in San Francisco. The tickets are going to be emailed to you. You know the drill, right? Keep an eye out for that email. Click the link inside and accept the tickets when you get them. They'll be delivered electronically.
Okay, and when's the date?
What is it? April 8th?
Okay.
Let's see.
I've never heard of this. Is it rock? I mean, if you're giving away tickets, it's rock and roll, right?
Oh my God, Annette, you don't know who Meshuggah is? You might not want to win these tickets. Meshuggah is like a Swedish metal.
I've heard them already. You can't take them away now.
I'm not taking them away. I'm just saying, are you sure you want them? Because it's a Swedish metal band.
It's a what?
It's a Swedish metal band.
I love it. I'm Danish, so
okay.
I'm looking for new. Thank you.
All right, you got tickets to Meshuggah and Cannibal Corpse.
I love the name. All right, sweetheart, you have a very Merry Christmas, and thank you so much.
Merry Christmas, Annette, and congratulations.
Right. Thanks.
Bye. Okay. So she's not a prize pig, but she does win like a couple times a year. So whatever. I'm fine with that. I just can't stand people who, I mean, there are people who win like it feels like every 30 days, you know? And every once in a while they'll get through me and I'll pull them up and I'll be like, dude, you just won something. What are you talking about? Oh, that was on KMBR. Yeah, we're the same company. It counts. That's the thing, Sherry, right? Like if you win something, you can't win anything for 30 days. So if you are waiting for something and you're not going to be able to win it if you just won something. Yeah. And Aftershock tickets cost a lot more than Meshuggah tickets. That's for sure. I don't know when we'll be giving away Aftershock. I think we did a round of Aftershock giveaways last week, right? Hi, Yvonne. How are you? Sherry, you know her? Yeah, apparently she's Danish, Dan. Go fig. I still use an AOL address, Mike. What are you talking about? I've had that AOL address since like the dawn of the internet. I used to dial up with that AOL email address. It's funny too, because like whenever people lose touch and they're like, oh, I didn't know how to get a hold of you. I hadn't seen you in so long. And I was like, why didn't you just email me? And they're like, well, I don't know what your email address is. And I'm like, it's the same one. I've had this email address for 30 years. More than 30 years. Oh man, Sherry. Well, you know what? If you know Annette and she won the tickets and you're pretty sure she's not going to want to go to that show, give her a call and, teach her how to transfer the tickets. Cause I just don't want them to go. I just don't want them to get wasted, teach her to transfer the tickets and give them to somebody that will go to the show. Cause fucking Meshuggah, dude. It's going to be awesome. Dan, you still got your Hotmail account? Classic. Effing classic. What was the other thing we were talking about? Hey, Lance, is it freezing in Pittsburgh? I'd ask Justine, but she hasn't tapped in yet. Justine's on the East Coast too. Will I be at NAMM? Oh gosh, Yvonne, I have not gone to NAMM in a very, very long time. It got to the point where there just wasn't much for me to do there. Honestly, it was like I flew 500 miles to hang out with people that lived a half an hour away. And I mean, there was always like a fun show or something to see, but there was never any real opportunity to do interviews, and I don't need gear, and it got to be really expensive. Dunlop was super nice and they hosted me for years, and they've offered to host me again, but I just can't ask them to spend that kind of money, and I can't afford to just drop hundreds of dollars on what they're charging for NAMM passes now. And no one's exhibiting like they used to, right? I mean, even the people that used to sponsor me, like Monster Products sponsored me a couple of years, and they don't even exist anymore. But back then, everybody was buying these huge spaces, and so they would get like dozens of badges with their space rental at the convention. And so it was really easy to just grab a badge here or there. But now everybody's reduced their footprint and they're not getting as many badges. And so I'm like, and I don't have the days off. I don't have vacation days. I basically traded NAMM for Comic-Con years ago. But now, so when I was in San Diego last weekend, I went to go see Bleeding Through and God Forbid and Carnifex and Necrogoblicon with my buddy that I go to Comic-Con with, and he's going to move. So he's moving before Comic-Con this year. So now I don't know if I'm going to go to Comic-Con either. But I think I'm going to apply for a press badge so that I don't have to pay up front for the badge. and then see if I can work out some kind of a reasonable San Diego Comic-Con lodging situation. If I can, I'll still Comic-Con. But I think it's still more worth my time. I have more fun and I get more mileage out of Comic-Con than I would out of NAMM. Oh, Brandon, you're late. We already talked about that. I can recap though for you. So what I was saying earlier, Brandon, is that like I was telling you yesterday how there's stuff that we just don't need to pay attention to, like every single one of Trump's appointees. Don't care. Ignore the clown car of everyone he appoints for everything because we can't do anything about it. And then focus on issues, real issues that are something that we can affect. Well, this is one of them. And they're trying to pass this budget with a 2-year debt ceiling suspension, which is insane. I'm sorry, what? The Republicans have been yanking the Democrats' leash every fiscal quarter for decades now. And they want us, in order to keep the lights on, they want the Democrats to give them a 2-year blank check. Go fuck yourselves on that one. As much as I would hate to see the government shut down right before Christmas, no. Shut it down. Shut it all the fuck down, because no one should get a 2-year blank check, especially when we are rolling into what is going to be the very end of the economic recovery from the last administration. And that is the interesting part, right? Because whatever it is that the Trump administration thinks they're going to get away with, they need to start implementing, and apparently they need no debt ceiling to do it, which is scary, especially considering the trillions in his last tax plan that we are all taxpayers paying for that are going to rich people. Trump keeps talking about his tariff plans, and every single economist out there is like, tariffs would be fiscal suicide. Tariffs is the dumbest thing ever. And they're all like, we'd love to make predictions, but we can't really predict that he's actually going to do this tariff plan. Can we? And the reason he wants to do tariffs is because it worked for him last time. But the only reason it worked for him last time was because the Fed lives in their little bubble where they can't possibly imagine that the administrator in charge of protecting that this nation and basically the global economy would spear it intentionally in order to keep rates low. Because that was his whole strategy: destabilize the global economy so that the Fed panics and lowers rates. And when the Fed panics and lowers rates, lower rates mean everybody gets to borrow money for free. And corporations get so excited because they're all borrowing money at like next to nothing, because they don't worry about paying it back, right? Because for the most part, if they ever need to stop borrowing money, they just restructure their debt. Worst case scenario, they close that corporation and open another one. So, yeah, Trump is walking in with a knife and a fork and a napkin under his chin, ready to eat this economy for lunch. And the last thing we should do ever is give him or his Congress a blank check for 2 years. So I told everybody to get ResistBot if you haven't gotten ResistBot yet, or contact your representative the old-fashioned way and let them know that it doesn't matter how badly we need to pass a budget. No one should ever pass a budget with an extended debt ceiling suspension. That is madness, absolute madness. And that is something that you can affect because your representatives are voting on that. So here's the ResistBot phone number. Just text 50409 with the word resist. John, was that you who tagged me in that post? You tagged me in that post and I just did not have a place for it. Any luck getting it back? Oh, Yvonne, NAM is only 3 days now. Yeah, it's super different. Oh, anyone can buy a badge though. Um, eh, I mean, as far as spending money, going to NAM just doesn't seem to be worth the investment for me. If somebody, if there was a company at NAM or if there was an entity at NAM that was like, hey, you could do this, I'd be like, oh, well, shit, that makes a difference. But so far, nothing. Elon is being Trump's foot soldier. I think the Thomas Cromwell um, comparison is accurate. I mean, you're Elon Musk, right? So you're not a moron. And you see Trump, and he's a moron, and he's commanding legions of other stupid people. You're probably like, hey, I could do that. And so far, he is doing that. But again, Elon Musk is not somebody we can affect, right? He's not an elected official. None of us has any control over anything that he touches. The most we could do is boycott Tesla and call for oversight on SpaceX. But it's all about how much energy you have and where you can put that energy to make a difference, and blocking out things that are going to energy suck that you can't do anything about. Elon Musk is one of those things. We have zero recourse when it comes to that guy. He's the richest man in the world. He's just going to keep getting richer. People don't realize that our taxes went higher under Trump. Well, there were some tax cuts, but there were also some losses, right? Some people got tax cuts under Trump, but those tax cuts were kind of hiding the raised taxes, right? Like, if you were a homeowner, you could no longer write off your home loan interest. That was something that homeowners counted on yearly. But a lot of the people that were disenfranchised and voting for Trump don't own houses, right? So also, I think that and it hurts me to even say this out loud, but I think it's a somewhat Republican, but largely a capitalist strategy to keep as many people from owning homes as possible, because then they can continue to buy up these properties and become corporate landlords. That's why we have a housing crisis. You know, all those people who lost their homes in the Great Recession in 2008 and 9, they had no recourse and they lost their homes and the housing value plummeted. And when that happened, corporations just formed, borrowed a bunch of money and bought up all those properties, and now they're your landlord. But people can't see that off in the distance. And you are absolutely right. The rich people are the ones that got the tax cuts, and so did the corporations. And the tax cuts that the average person did get, those expire in February. But the 15% tax across the board for corporations, that reduction was permanent. And it's going to be really hard to repeal that. And corporations are already hard to get to pay their fair share, but now they're going to be impossible. And it's the same thing with the mega rich, right? The mega rich, all their value is tied up in stocks. That's why they were trying to get the unrealized gains taxes passed. Elon Musk is sitting on hundreds of billions of dollars that he's not paying taxes on because it's all tied up in stock. And he never has to cash out that stock so that it never becomes capital gains. He can just borrow against that stock. And then he can write off the interest on the loans that he's borrowing against the stock value that he has. That's how he bought Twitter. It's insane. But yeah, it's complicated and the average person can't understand it, which is why the average person was like, gas and groceries, and that explanation was complicated and they didn't understand that. How do you explain to stupid people that don't know they're stupid? It's sad. It is sad. You deleted your Twitter account? I heard that Blue Sky had something problematic going on as well, but I can't remember what it was. But also, this is not the first time everybody has pretended a mass exodus from one social media network to the other. I can't remember what it was, but at one point we were all leaving MySpace, or we were leaving Facebook or whatever for some other social media platform. And I remember signing up for it and putting all these people in my friend circles, and then nobody did anything with it, and everybody stayed at Facebook or MySpace or whatever it was. So I'm reluctant. Like, I mean, you guys know, I'm already super tired of TikTok. And it took me forever to finally like join TikTok. And it's very irritating. I can never find anything from anyone I know, even though I'm following a bunch of people. I have like 2 people that I follow that post content, apparently, occasionally 3. And whenever I do look at it, occasionally I'll get some fun comedy stuff, but the majority of it is just like people yelling at me or trying to sell me things or blasting music, or there's no way to kind of choose your content. It just keeps shoving it at you, whether you like it or not, and I feel like I have to kind of like watch it for a minute to figure out what the hell it is before I decide if I don't like it. But by then the algorithm already thinks that I've watched it long enough to like it, and it keeps feeding it to me. And I don't have the time to sit there and like hold it down and like select it. I didn't really like this. It was dumb. In order to like not have it fed to me. I'm already tired of talking about it. TikTok. Part of me kind of hopes that they end up losing that court case and divesting, but they won't. It'll be fine. TikTok will keep going. No, my family is not from, well, okay, I have some Eastern European family, but they're Bohemian. So not Polish, more Czech. But also, I just have one of those faces that people can't tell. The vast majority of my genetic makeup is UK. There's some German, there's some Czech, which was, well, Bohemian. So whatever region that was, which I believe is Czech Republic now. And then, it's funny, the amount of Scottish, Irish, and English and Welsh keeps changing. So as they update the samples, I don't know how it's going to end up working. My cousins have sworn to me on a stack of Bibles that we have a Cherokee ancestor and that they have found her in the rolls, not in the rolls, in the records, in the census records. And they're basing this on her having been property on one census and then being a wife on the next census, on a post-slavery census kind of thing. And the fact that none of us is Black, we're assuming that she was Native American, I think. I don't know. Honestly, my cousins did that shit that's some end of the family that's like from Arkansas, I believe. And I've literally never been to Arkansas, and none of my family was from Arkansas. They were all from like Alabama, Louisiana, Mississippi. So, I don't know. Some Eastern Europe, not Eastern Europe, some mostly Western Europe, actually. There's a little bit of French that pops up once in a while. There is a confirmed Dutch ancestor, but whether or not I got that genetic makeup remains to be seen, because they keep changing it. Hold on a second. I've got the ancestry like right here. We'll see what the latest is. But yeah, I had a guy walk up to me one time. He was like picking me up at the airport, and as we're walking to the car, he started speaking to me in Russian, and I was like, "Who are you talking to?" And he's like, "You." And I was like, what? And he goes, "Your parents didn't speak Russian to you when you were growing up?" And I was like, why would they do that? And he's like, you're not Russian? And I was like, nope, not even a little bit. And he was like, huh. And he was just very confused by it. He was like almost irritated, like, how dare I not be Russian and looking so Russian to him. God, I swear I had it already logged in here on a thing, but Jesus. Maybe not. I gotta close a bunch of these. Whenever I'm trying to find something, whenever I want to remember something, I park it in my Safari on my phone and then apparently never go back to look at it. There it is. Found it. I knew it was back here somewhere. Hang on a second. But the short answer is that my family's been here since the Revolutionary War, so we're all pretty American. We're 1077 The Bone. I'm Nikki Blakk. And, Pink Floyd's David Gilmour has a solo album right now. And he just released a live version of his first single from that album called Luck and Strange. It's called The Piper's Call. The album is Luck and Strange. The song is Piper's Call. And even though David Gilmour is not coming through the Bay Area, we do have Britt Floyd coming through the Bay Area. July 19th at the Warfield and July 20th at the Mountain Winery in Saratoga. All right. I think this ancestry business is going to have to be the last of it because I can't keep staying all night with you guys. Hurt you, but no. Let's see. Ooh, scarf. Choking myself with this thing. Okay. Ancestries. Shibink. That's me right there. So let's see. What does that say? 31% England and Northwestern Europe, 28% Scottish, because if it's not Scottish, it's crap. 25% Germanic Europe. What are these last two? 8% Welsh and 5% French. 2% Swedish, which, like I said, the guy's Dutch. So maybe he's genetically Swedish and his citizenship was Dutch. maybe mom knew somebody over the border. I don't know. And then 1% Central and Eastern Europe. So I'm guessing that the 1% Central and Eastern Europe is the Bohemian, because that was my grandmother on my mom's side. That was my grandmother's grandfather who came over from Bohemia. He was like the last person to get in the country as far as people in my family go. Everyone else was here like revolutionary, basically. Let's see. Explore your ancestral journeys. No, I'm good. To identify your ancestral regions, we compare your DNA to the DNA of people with known origins from around the world. What changed from the last update? Nothing. I mean, whatever. Let's see. I got to find the part that has my origins by parent. Jesus, really? Let's see. If I'm looking at this right, it says that my... Wait, hold on. What is this? They have this weird chromosome painter, but I can't understand what that means. But I mean, does it? I think it means that like everything came from my dad and very little from my mom. Let's see if it'll let me filter by parent. I can't tell what it's doing. It's being weird. Oh, here we go. My 4 ancestral journeys. Okay, there you go. So there's the US. There's where my people are, where they came from. And so very clearly this is my mom's family and this is my dad's family. Like 100%. And they met in college, but they were both in the American College in Paris. So go fig. But yeah, basically Revolutionary War on both sides, except for that one grandmother's grandfather who came over from Czech Republic. There you go. And these folks up here, Mennonites. Who knew? You know, it's funny that some of this crosses over the Carolinas and Georgia more so than Alabama, Mississippi, but that could be generations back, right? Because all the current generations have gone like this way. They're all up here in like Alabama, Louisiana, Mississippi. Anywho, genetics, they're fascinating. Just don't get too into them, you know? Oh, thanks, Yvonne. That's so sweet of you. Yeah, the fixed rate mortgage, if you could get a good fixed rate, I mean, not to brag, but I'm at like 2.83 for the life of my loan and I'm just going to stay there. No refinancing, no moving. They'll bury me in that house. Everyone is leaving X. A lot of people are leaving X, Dan. It's every time I log into X, it's super irritating. I can show you. Oh no, I can't. I took it off my phone. Whenever I log into X, it basically shows me all of Elon Musk's tweets as notifications, even though I don't want his tweets as notifications. I only want to be notified of people who are talking to me. I don't give a shit if Elon Musk is out there spewing his bullshit, but it's always like Musk said this, Musk said that, Musk, and it keeps determining these people that I need to know as though they were notifications, and it's super irritating. I don't have time. I don't have patience. Jacob, any word that Metal Zone will promote local metal bands when they are in the Bay Area? Will the Bones stand by Testament in 2020? What are you talking about? Jacob, are you new here? Tell me you don't listen to the Metal Zone without telling me you don't listen to the Metal Zone. I promote all the metal bands when they come through town. I especially promote and support the local metal bands when they come through town. Did you not see my interview with Chuck Billy when Testament was going to play at the Warfield? The fuck, dude? Did you not try to win tickets to Exodus? Did you not hear Hatriot premiere their new song a few months back on the Metal Zone? Anyone else from the Bay Area? Like everyone else from the Bay Area. Did you not hear me premiere the new Skin Lab a couple weeks ago? But yes, politics is a strong focus point for me. I mean, I wouldn't call politics a strong focus point. I think I prefer cultural relevance to be my focus point, but politics always ends up kind of being a thing that people are poorly informed on, and I am happy to maybe clarify some of that picture. You would have guessed Polish or Russian? I know one Polish guy, and I don't look anything like him, but okay. But I have seen pictures of Russian women who I thought looked a lot like me, or looked like me when I was younger. I think my face has changed. You're white Latino with a Hispanic last name. Because you're worried about deportation. Oh, dude, like, come on. Again, put your focus on things that matter. And this mass deportation pipe dream that Trump has is just another dog and pony show distraction, just like the clown car of appointees that he has. Not worth your time and focus. Focus on the bills that are in Congress. Focus on the votes in Congress, because that is something that you have a voice in, because you can contact your representative on those bills. You can make a difference where that happens. Mass deportations, you're going to have to rely on the courts. We're going to have to rely on the ACLU, because we can't change that. We can't have anything to do with it. If you are an American citizen, if you were born a citizen, they can't take that away from you. If you were a naturalized citizen, they can't take that away from you. If you were a recent green card person, or there are different levels of citizenship. The most at risk is if you are a recent citizen and committing a crime could get your citizenship revoked. But I don't even think they can do that if you have citizenship, because once you have citizenship, committing a crime doesn't revoke your citizenship. You have to commit treason for that. They would have to pass laws to change that. So take the energy that you were focusing on, oh shit, they're going to deport me, and put it someplace like, oh, I can make this better. That matters. Does 23andMe cost like $1,000? No, it costs like $50, maybe $100. I don't know. Dan, you have heritage to the Mayflower, but can you prove it? That's the important part. Turns out I have a Daughters of the American Revolution number for my family, so I can prove it. Did you think I looked cold? I just took my scarf off because I was so toasty. I am not cold. I'm fine. The whole Bay Area is very cold right now, but I have the air turned off in here, so it's actually kind of like stagnant and toasty in the studio for the moment. Kevin, you have ancestors that were on the Columbus ships, but they didn't settle here. Did you settle in the Caribbean with them? Are you from the Is your family from the Caribbean? Is that what you mean? Or did you go back? Did your family go back to Spain with Columbus and then we're like, hey, we were there on the boat? That's weird. Well, the Spanish, the only reason the Spanish don't have a reputation like the English is because they just weren't as successful at colonizing and holding on to their colonies. But the Spanish did colonize a lot. So, I don't know. What do you mean, oh God, not Georgia and Louisiana? That's where they are. Ain't nothing I can do about it. Sherry, your brother did 2 ancestry tests and found out more Scottish. Oh, a lot of people found half siblings they didn't know about. There have been some crazy stories. There are whole podcasts out there dedicated to DNA stories that happened because people took the tests. I gave everybody the test for Christmas, and I'm not going to say nothing popped up. Nothing popped up about me. I'll say that. Yeah, Kevin, nobody's doing X anymore. It's hard to find. It's all about Molly. Just kidding. I don't think you can block Elon anymore on X. I had him blocked before, and then I unblocked him to angry tweet at him, and now I can't block him again. So I think I'm stuck with it. Yeah. And not only am I stuck with it, but they're force feeding him to me, which is super gross. And at this point, the only reason I'm not deleting my account is because the station will tag me in things, and because I don't want somebody else to have the handle on Twitter. So Brandon, you just really switched gears there with your favorite metal performance. Hey, Metal Cowboy, what's happening, man? Do I have enough time to ask you this? What are you a cowboy of? Do you herd cattle? Do you trade horses? You're in Vancouver? Are there ranches in Vancouver? I thought Vancouver was like the San Francisco of Canada. Rodeo. Oh, Lord. You got the belt buckles? The belt buckles? The belt buckles that are bigger than my head? Ah, dude. Oh, you DJ at the rodeo. That's different. But can you ride? That's the question. Oh, John, you found whole new family members? That's awesome. Hey, Aaron. I'm good. It has been cold lately. I get home and I switch into my onesie, my little dragon onesie that's all super toasty warm. The Clover and poor Metal Cowboy is in Vancouver, and we're all crying about being California cold. Is it freezing in Vancouver right now? Valley West Stampede. You don't ride? Aw, okay. Rodeos are evil. I think rodeos, the time has come for the rodeos to kind of slow down and eventually die out, just like bullfighting. I mean, I don't think yeah. I feel like animals for sport are losing their steam as a viable capitalist venture. I mean, rodeos were don't make me convert Celsius, dude. Also 8 is not warm even in Celsius. Just riding events, no roping. All right. I have some friend. I have a very good friend whose sister's kids have become rodeo people, and the girls are doing like barrel racing or something. And I was like, "Wow, dude, you're raising barrel racers now," because they're like teenagers. But growing up in, I was always like a horse kid. I loved horses, but we could never afford them. So whenever we visited my grandparents in Arizona, where they have all the they have all those trail places, I would be like, take us to ride the horses. And I would make everyone do a trail ride. And then eventually they got sick and tired of everyone having to do the trail ride. And they would just drop me off and be like, just take her. Just take her out on a horse and we'll come get her in an hour or two. And then at one point, I had a boyfriend who had horses, and then we stayed friends after we weren't dating anymore. So he and I would go out riding a lot in Vacaville, and we would ride out to Oates. There was an Oates saloon. I was always like, because I thought it was the coolest thing ever to ride out to the saloon and hitch the horses out front on the hitching post, and then go in and have a drink, and then ride the horses back. I was like, yeah, this is cowboy. It was the closest thing you could get in Vacaville. But I have not ridden horses in many years now that I think about it. My friend Shari took me out last time on her horses, and her horses were in Castro Valley. God, I love horseback riding. It's so great. But yeah, you can't even call him an ex because it was a high school thing, but longtime friend who I had dated that had horses, he lost his horses. I think something happened and his sister had to come take care of him. Like he went to jail or some shit. And I saw him later and I was like, how are my horses? And he's like, oh, my sister's got them. And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, I couldn't afford to keep them. And she had to come and take them because his sister had moved to Texas. And same as it ever was. I got to be careful with it. Some days are worse than others. This is lifelong. It's not like it's a thing that's ever going to get better. It's what they call permanent and stationary. Hold that thought. Oh. It's Aerosmith with Love in an Elevator on 107.7 The Bone. I'm Nikki Blakk, and Tom Hamilton is not retiring like the rest of Aerosmith. He's already got a new band called Close Enemies. They've just signed a record deal, and their debut single, Sound of a Train, is coming out on January 17th. They're doing a short tour in January, but I got a feeling we're going to see him opening for somebody this summer. All right. I got to start wrapping it up because it's time to go and I have to pee. Yay. Double it and add 32, right? That's what my Canadian friends tell me. So 16 and 32 is 242. Woo. Yeah. So I guess you're having temperatures about the same as we are right now. And for us, that's cold. Very cold. But yeah, I used to ride, and I want to again. I know there are some ranches, and some horses are boarded near me in like I'm in Concord, but I know there's a couple of ranches and some places where they board in Martinez, and I keep telling myself that when I get some spare time, I'm gonna like look into either boarding a horse or borrowing a horse back there. And then I had some friends that just moved to Martinez, and they've got horses that I just found out about, and so I'm going to be all like, sup. I'll brush him. I'll muck styles. Let me ride him. See what happens. So yes, Brandon, we are going to have another 4 years of Trump shouting outside of a helicopter and doing the dumbest of dumb shit and embarrassing us on a world stage. We have that to look forward to. Yep. Yeah. We're that country now. That's just a given. There is no getting around that. So I know it's weird to say try not to let it bother you, but try not to let it affect you. It's going to be terrible, but we're just going to have to take it as it comes because we can't change it. Never underestimate the power of stupid people in large numbers because we are all going to be living proof for the next 4 years. Ish. I mean, he could die. Light candles. Hope for the best. You already had 2 people try taking him out and miss. So, Brandon, he could never stop breaking the law. He's never not been a lawbreaker. This is who he is. It's who he always has been. Frankly, becoming president put like a legal target on his back. So now he's finally being prosecuted for some of the things. Whereas before, he barely was prosecuted for anything between the 1972 filing for civil rights violations and then all the way through forever, right? I mean, all these other things that he brings up, no one cares. You rode on the back of an elephant, Dan. Congratulations. We don't do that anymore, though, because it turns out it's not good for the elephants. No, Kevin, surgery is not a solution for me. The bigger problem for me is the extensor tendonitis over the carpal tunnel. There is a surgery for carpal tunnel, but my carpal tunnel is not severe enough to need the surgery or for the surgery to make much of a difference for me. I haven't watched the Metallica stream yet. It just dropped today. So I mean, it's going to be cool, but I haven't had time to watch it. I'm still catching up on the last of Amal Taika Waititi, The Vampires, the show with the on What We Do in the Shadows. I'm still catching up on the end of What We Do in the Shadows. Thanks, Marty. I would never give up horseback riding and I would never give up surfing, but I don't know if you noticed, I spend a lot of time talking to you guys and a lot of time being on the radio and a lot of time doing the social media and a lot of the time, you know, with all the other stuff. Going to shows. I go to a lot of shows. So I would love to, that's my hope. That's my hope. And my New Year's resolution is to get a schedule together to where I can get some things in order at my house with my home studio. And I'll be working from home at that point, I believe. And then I think I'm going to try and work from Chasta's home once a week or once every couple of weeks so that I can get in the water. And then hopefully I will, like I said, I have that friend who's just moved into a ranch in Martinez with some horses. I'm going to try and get in on that. At least that's my goals, right? Squad goals at this point. I know, Metal Cowboy, only 4 years. It's going to be heinous, right? We've been sentenced to 4 years. Hard time. We're just going to have to fucking man up and do it. All right. 10 toes down, people. It is time to do the time because we have done the crime of voting that piece of shit into office. Hi, John. Yeah. So we're going to have to just, do the best we can with what we have. And when you're overwhelmed by the greater arcing national and global insanity, go myopic, focus small, look at what's immediately around you that you can affect. Try and block all of that out because you can't change it. So it's just insanity, banging your head against the wall, trying to change the thing you can't change. If he dies, we get JD Vance. It's not arguably worse. JD Vance has the personality of a wet mop. JD Vance fucks couches. He doesn't, but that's what everybody thinks of him. Is JD Vance getting reelected? Nope. Yeah. No. Put JD Vance next to Gavin Newsom. Even with the propaganda they've got against Gavin Newsom, which is frankly all a lot of garbage. Do you really think JD Vance is going to be able to beat him? I don't. I don't think so, John. I'm not worried about JD Vance because he's dumb. I mean, Mike Pence was smart. Mike Pence was evil and smart. JD Vance is evil and stupid. He's not as stupid as Trump. I mean, I get that there are varying degrees of stupid here, but JD Vance, no, he doesn't have the personality. Trump is all cult of personality. And it's the cult of fame, right? JD Vance is famous for being an author. Their people don't read. How many of them even saw the movie, right? Nobody. How many MAGA people saw a movie that starred, what's her name? Was it Glenn Close that played the mom in that movie? They didn't watch it. And they definitely didn't read it. So again, focus on the things you can change. Accept the things you can't change. The alcoholics know what they're talking about with that shit. Aaron, you think the best way to deal with Trump is to try not to let him live rent-free in your head? That's what I'm talking about. I mean, don't block out everything, but just focus on what matters. Focus on things that you can have something to do with. Know the difference. No, Sherry, Vance is not better. Vance just has less of a chance of being elected again. Have a good night, Sherry. Again, my choice of Vance over Trump is that Vance can't get elected again. And if Trump dies in office, Trump can't tell his people to vote for Vance. And Trump's not going to tell his people to vote for Vance because he picked Vance because he thought Vance was going to be the more popular candidate. He's like, well, he's the most famous guy, so let's take him. And then that whole couch banging thing popped up, and and then the weird thing popped up, right? And Vance was just completely, they pulled the rug out from under him. And Trump was like, oh, I don't want to be associated with him now. So if we can get Trump to die in office without endorsing Vance, Vance does not have a chance to get elected, in my opinion. Things can change, but I don't have time to talk about Yellowstone, guys. I have watched the whole series, though. I gotta go pee. But we can talk about Yellowstone tomorrow. No, tomorrow's Friday. We can talk about Yellowstone next week. I'll be here next week. Have I heard the band The Warning? Yeah, they were at Aftershock. They were really good. Chasta and Baby Huey interviewed them at Aftershock. You can see it on the Bones YouTube page, which I think is some weird name, like 1077 Rocks the Bay. Our YouTube page is like weird. Oh, Marty, it can be much worse, and there can be a world war. Yeah, there's a lot of global implications that are real bad right now, but again, can't fix it, can't change it, can't let it affect you. I can only be aware of it. And if the opportunity presents itself, I can contact my representatives. That's it. Thanks, Sherry. Appreciate you. What the Buddhists say, tend to the patch of garden that is yours and everything else will fall in place. I mean, to some degree, yes, especially if you're feeling overwhelmed by everything that's going on. But as citizens, I think it is our duty to be aware of these things, but then to give each one of them the appropriate attention. Again, I keep using the example of Trump Trump keeps appointing all of this clown car full of people. Okay, I'm aware of these people, but that is the extent of it. I don't need to learn about these people because I have nothing to do with it. Maybe when their confirmation hearings come about, I might take a closer look. I might take a little more note. But as we've already seen with Matt Gaetz, let the cycle of crazy perpetuate itself. I mean, it wasn't even the Democrats that got Matt Gaetz unnominated. It was the Republicans. Like Marjorie Taylor Greene came out against Matt Gaetz. And so if you just leave them alone, they'll off themselves a little bit. 1077 The Bone and Sticks. So come sail away. I'm Nikki Blakk, and tomorrow is your last chance to win tickets to see Sticks along with, oh wait, hold it. I always forget that guy's name, and I'm looking at the wrong page. There it is. Kevin Cronin. It's not like I don't know it. It's just that it's not like on the tip of my tongue where I need it when I need it. 1077 The Bone and Sticks with Come Sail Away. I'm Nikki Blakk, and tomorrow is your last chance to win tickets to see Sticks with Kevin Cronin from REO Speedwagon and Don Felder with the Eagles on June 13th at the Toyota Pavilion in Concord. Tickets are on sale now for that show at livenation.com, and tomorrow in the 8 a.m., 11 a.m., and 3 p.m. hours are your last chance to win those tickets from 1077 The Bone. Oh, okay. No, we are. Oh, no, that's right. Yeah. Remember yesterday we were a little bit early and I was super mad about it. All right. That looks good. A lot of buttons to push. Where were we? Thank you, Jim. I know a couch fucker when I see one. Dude, Saturday Night Live really got funny for a minute there. I hope they keep it up. How is Trump charming? No, Trump's not charming, but he has a cult of personality. People are obsessed with him because of his prior fame and because he was rich, I mean, that's it. That's Americans in a nutshell, right? We're fame whores in this country, and we've proved it. Sadly, we've proved it. I mean, between the Kardashians and Trump, we have proved that America is a country of fame whores. And there are people all over social media proving daily how desperate they are for fame. You know, I mean, how many sex tapes did we have after like Paris Hilton got famous, right? I mean, Kim Kardashian got famous because she was friends with Paris Hilton, but she got more famous because she sucked off Ray J on a video that leaked. God, that's America right now. That's who we are. Trump doesn't have to be charming because his people are just so obsessively following him. I wish there was a way to explain it, you know? I mean, they call it groupthink, but Jesus, it is really off the charts on this one. And again, you know, the goal is to not let him live rent free in your head. Be aware, but don't be obsessed. And watch what you have to watch. Know what you need to know. And don't obsess over it. Like that whole Matt Gaetz circus, you for 90% of what's happening with Trump right now, you could just read the headlines and move on and be aware. And then once he's in office, then you're going to have to read the whole story to know whether or not you need to go past the headline. But you don't have to read every story about it because there's rarely an update. Everything he does is in furtherance of his desperate agenda to make more money. He's like the Gene Simmons of politics, but not as smart as Gene Simmons is. Scary. I mean, Gene Simmons became a rock star to make a shit ton of money, and Trump became president. His goal is to keep interest rates down so that corporations can make a bunch of money, and they're all going to pay him for it. That's that. That's his goal. Running the country is going to fall on everyone else around him because he's not going to do it and he's not going to care about doing it. He's just going to care about playing golf and keeping interest rates low so that he can make money. Panda Express. Ugh, damn, that food is terrible for you. Do you want to die young, than you would have if you didn't eat that shit? Am I worried that terrestrial radio is going to go away? Terrestrial radio is already going away. I don't know if you've noticed it, but it's on its way out. We are drowning because digital is the new way to go. That's a conversation for another day. That's super complicated. One more day. We're so close. Yes. We're so close. Did you get a haircut? Looks good.
No.
No?
Same. Maybe I comb.
You combed it.
See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. No, Marty. Trump-hating women are not actually turned on by him and his power and confidence. No. So much no. God. Wow. That was so patriarchal, dude. I don't even have time to discuss it. No, Marty. Trump did not have his money made before he became president. Trump had his money made before he was born because Fred Trump made that money. Like all of it. Yeah. Any guesses which rock stars will double the fortune next year? I don't know what that means, Jacob. At least I eat. Oh, damn, that's a low bar. That's a very low bar. Let's aim higher. Just a little bit higher. Will Kerry King alone ever double his fortune from 8 million to 20 million? First off, I don't know where you get those numbers, but no, that's not accurate. Secondly, whatever Kerry does with Kerry's money is Kerry's business. Oh, yeah. Trump is insanely insecure and creepy and vile looking and sounding. And any woman attracted to him is falling into the patriarchal trap of needing a level of security that she can't provide for herself. Hey, James, welcome from Kentucky. I am trying to get out of here because A, I'm off work, and B, I gotta fucking pee. You guys are making it difficult for me. Yeah, Marty, some women are so weird they marry serial killers, but they are not the norm. And again, the patriarchy. I don't know if you've noticed, but women are still very much being pushed into a position where they are subservient to men because they don't have a choice. You know, the wage gap is still real. Women still get paid less overall. And the ability for a woman to buy a house alone in this state for sure, but in this country in general, is kind of crazy. But again, I don't have time for the patriarchal conversation today. I need to go. I gotta pee. I'm doing a dance. I'd hate to live anywhere near his skin. He's just creepy. And again, Brandon, you know what? We need to find you a hobby, brother. Something that is not Trump related, so that the amount of Trump time in your head goes from this to this, because that's about as much as you should give him, right? How much did you think about George W. Bush? How much did you think about Jimmy Carter? How much did you think about Ronald Reagan? You know, once these guys are in office, there's not a lot we could do about it, except pay attention to the issues, not the circus, and contact your representatives about the issues, you know? Yeah, Brandon, he's going to be in office. Like I said, 10 toes down, folks. It's time for us to do the time. But what are you going to do? Are you going to work out? Are you going to walk the yard? Or are you going to join a gang? Like, we're all about ready to do some prison time here in real life. And yeah, I'm not mad, Brandon. I'm just saying focus for maximum effort so that you're not spending as much time focusing on him as you are. Because I don't see where you're able to do anything about it. Politics aren't lame, John, but politics should be focused or not attempted. There are people out there that just don't have the... All right, again, a topic I'm not getting into today. Happy weekend to you too, Dan. I will see you guys on Monday because I have to pee.